Welcome to the Anti-Architect Podcast. I am your host, Christian Giordano. As president and owner of the design firm Mancini Duffy, I am driven by a quest for learning and radically changing the industry. With this podcast, I'm hoping to improve the industry that I'm so passionate about by taking a critical look at how architects work through a variety of voices and shared experiences. Christina, thank you so much for taking the time to be my guest here on the Anti-Architect Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Christian.
Absolutely. So you have a connection to our firm here, Mancini Duffy. You started your career at TSC Design, which was a firm that Mancini actually acquired back in like 2011, 2012, something like that, which was right before my time. That was your first job, right?
Yes, it was.
Right out of school.
Right out of school.
Nice. So we're going to get into culture and all the things that make your firm very special. But looking back, what was the culture of TSC, if you can remember back to then?
So I started there 10 days after graduating. And when I started, there were 10 employees.
Oh, wow.
And it was a family. And I really enjoyed it. I was nurtured. I was supported. We did great fun activities together. We went camping. So we really connected.
Nice.
And so I learned so much from that experience. And I started off on a Goldman Sachs account there and did some workplace interiors, of which I was not so passionate about at that time. And then we brought in the Tiffany account. And so I was working as a project designer on the Tiffany account. And two of my managers that I reported into, they left at the same exact time. So then I got promoted up to project manager very, very early on and had to just dive right in and learn as I went along. And was able to build that account, travel the world for Tiffany's, and I completed 65 projects for them and built the team around me. So I was really empowered at TSC, and I did a lot of the interviewing, brought the team in, and we went through, September 11th together, and we also went through the 2008 financial crisis. So I learned resilience and adaptability. And when I left, we had grown it to 75 people. So from 10 to 75. So
wow,
it was a really exciting time.
Wow, that's tremendous growth in a short period of time, too, which is crazy. And then ultimately they became part of Mancini, which in a weird way, well, it's how like my partner, Bill Mandera, actually, he always says he came with the furniture here at the firm. But it's kind of funny how things work out because he and I then hit it off at that point, and we probably wouldn't be where we were without his experience at TSC. So pretty interesting. So I was excited to have you on because there's a lot of synergies and similar values between like yourself and your firm and me. And I love when people put their values out there as a basis for their business. It's something that's important to me. You show a little bit of vulnerability, and I think people kind of, flock to you. They really enjoy that you're open-minded about that stuff. So there's a few things I definitely want to dig deeper as we go through. The growth mindset, the entrepreneurial spirit, and then my favorite, which is culture. So let's start with the growth mindset. Not every architect or designer naturally leans into the growth mindset. Some are very content with just being handed a project and say, here, design this, and you leave them alone, and that's great, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a growth mindset is definitely something different. What does it mean to you, and where do you think it comes from within you?
Just a big believer of lifelong learning and staying curious and always knowing that there's opportunity for growth. We're never our perfect self. There's a lot to learn out there, and that happens in our firm. We do it collectively. So we have a curriculum that we use through, it's called a platform called Ivy Learning. And it stems everything from how to build confidence to mastering time management. And we do this through, it's a video. You can read it, you can watch it. And then we come together each month and discuss it. And it's how it connects back to how we can work better together, how we can create ease. And everybody's excited about what the module is that month. And it's been really great as far as the whole team coming together and supporting one another in that growth journey as well.
Wow. And so that's something that you actually, like a subscription that you purchase?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
And is it directly for architects and designers, or it's just business in general?
No, it's just business in general.
Oh, wow.
So the founder is a YPOer named Barry Merrick.
Okay.
And he brings on different thought leaders each week and records his podcast with this thought leader.
Okay.
And so it has. There's
That's
so
why
much
I've heard
depth.
of it, by the way. Now
It's so
I
much
I
depth
get the
to it.
IV emails. I just don't pay attention to them. I probably should pay attention to them.
You should. They're really great. I highly recommend it.
So, and everybody I find this interesting. So everybody at the firm is into this, right? They appreciate setting aside time to do it. And so that's got to be, for you, that's got to be something where you're really then, as you're finding people to work with you, they have to know that up front and really buy into that. How do you find that person? How do you know that person's going to appreciate this and not be like, oh, just another one of these things, this is dumb, I don't want to do this kind of thing, just leave me alone?
So, one, my interview process, it's not just me. I bring in the rest of the team as well for interviews. So I'm never making a decision alone, because most important is going to be culture fit and having this as a value. They also want to have a growth mindset and to be curious. So this is discussed in the interview process as well. And I just, you have that intuitive feeling when you're speaking to someone,
Yeah.
if they're going to be open to this journey.
Yep.
Because when we do these discussions, which are monthly, it is equal airtime. We make sure that everybody, has exactly the same amount of time into discussing what they feel about the module they just watched. And it's definitely been, some people are shy at first, and you see that growth happen right in front of you.
Sure.
That they're able to articulate what they learned from that module and how they're going to be able to utilize it going forward. So that's something that we do see often, is that growth right in front of us of each person.
That's awesome. I'm very impressed by it. And I guess, so as I think about that and I kind of picture this happening, and you're obviously growing the firm from, you started it and so it's growing. How do you balance taking on kind of any project, right, to grow, right? I personally struggle with this, right? It's hard to say no to a project, right? Even though probably not the best project for us. So how do you balance the quality of projects and that wanting to grow, not only personally, but also the business, right? I mean, all of this is ultimately to grow the business as well.
Sure. The first thing is making sure that the client and our values are aligned. So regardless of what type of project it is, if it's hospitality, workplace, retail, it's about the person on the other side of the table. And if I feel that we can work together collectively, because this really is a partnership, it's a collaboration.
Absolutely.
So that would be the first step. And then it's also timing, as far as, like, last year was just extremely different than this year, as far as the type of projects and the quantity, say for retail. The volume within one brand was higher than it is this year.
Okay.
Which then is requiring to look at different brands out there, also just different types of work. It's spreading our wings. Like, there's no, like, why not try it and see if we can be excited about it. Again, when I had mentioned, Goldman Sachs and workplace, I wasn't that excited about it back in the early 2000s. But now, workplace interiors has changed completely. Yeah. And it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And so, even though my specialty is retail, now doing workplace projects as well, it's been a great challenge, but also extremely rewarding.
Interesting. So we'll deviate a little bit here, because now you brought up workplace and retail, and I see that too. I see the workplace, I see it changing I think everyone had their idea of what it was going to be post-COVID, and I think it's finally starting to take shape. And it's been 5 years, right? And we're just starting to see it. I think you're actually going to start seeing developers start building office buildings that are very different from what they were before. That's going to take another 5 years, if not longer, to get to that stage. They'll have to absorb all the stuff that's out there. But talk to me a little bit about how the retail side of what you do interacts with the workplace side, because I kind of see workplace as becoming more hospitality-based, more retail-based, that kind of thing.
Right, exactly. So hospitality intersects all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes within the retail and within the workplace. Also, it's as far as the look and feel and the elevated elements that go into a retail space, how we can bring that into workplace in a more affordable way.
Right.
But the warmth and the comfort level that you want to experience when you're in a retail space that makes you comfortable enough to buy and to want to experience that brand, why not bring that right into workplace as well?
Yeah. Yeah, workplace used to be easy when it was just like the Goldman Sachs. It was just floor after floor of just seas of workstations, and that was it.
Right, and it should be about the brand.
Yeah.
So it's the same process, the discovery phase that we do with our retail clients. We do that with our workplace clients.
Right.
So who are they? Who do they want to be? How do they want their clients to feel when they arrive to their workplace? How do they want their employees to feel? So the same type of questions that we ask a brand, we ask to the CEO and the stakeholders of that company.
Right. So going back to now the entrepreneurial spirit, which I really love in your bio, what pushed you to take the leap to start Studio Lourdes and have that entrepreneurial side of you?
Still a very good question. Still, every day I'm wondering,
what I get myself into.
Why did I get myself into this? So the main point was I set out to create an environment that was unlike anything that I had experienced in the corporate world to date. And that was a space that was truly about the employee experience. To have a successful company, we're so focused on the client experience that we sometimes forget about the employee experience, and those two are inseparable. So how do we make sure that the employees are consistently growing, feeling nurtured and supported, and having fun along the way?
Right.
So that is what I sought out to do, and it's extremely rewarding seeing the team and how we all interact with one another. And because of that, we've created really happy clients, because the way that we interact with our clients, it's different because we're happy and we're supported.
Nice. So give me an example of how you support your employees.
So one is teaching them the business, being extremely transparent. Instead of putting them in a corner and having them draft and detail something all day long, they are part of the everyday decisions and the overall strategy of the company. So we do a facilitated strategy session every October, and it's senior leaders to junior designers in that discussion. Everybody has equal airtime, and that's how we set our goals for the upcoming year. And once you engage them and bring them into the story, they feel part of something. Yeah. So I'm very clear about what our revenue goals are and how we're going to achieve them collectively. And then they learn as a core competency a scope proposal, like how to develop one, how that scope translates into fees, and how to track your time against those fees for the duration of the project. So instead of, in the past, it's been, you don't learn those, and you don't learn the business of architecture. And so I'm very, transparent and teach all of that.
That's great. And so very similar to my philosophy here. We do the exact same thing. As a matter of fact, we just had our monthly meeting last night, our what we call T3. And we show a financial dashboard, or actually we show a health of the entire firm dashboard. It's taken us years to get it to be actually accurate or real-time data, which is kind of cool. And we share all of that. And I I've been accused by some here at the firm, and I'm joking around, but of being too transparent with things. And I think I have probably been too transparent on certain aspects of things, and so I pulled back in certain areas. But I do think, what are my personal goals? I make everybody tell me their personal goals and their business goals at the beginning of the year, and we track them throughout the year. I know I'm super annoying with that, but it's important. I'm a big believer in setting your goals and then seeing where you get. It doesn't mean you have to achieve them or you're a failure if you didn't get there. There's a million other things, or you go in a different direction because one goal led you into another goal. I think those are perfectly fine things, but setting some time aside to think about what you want to accomplish is really important. Mm-hmm. Have you had anyone push back on the financial side or get too overwhelmed or nervous about it? Like, oh my God, how are we going to make these numbers? I can't handle this kind of stuff.
No, because I don't put that pressure.
Nice.
And that's not the priority. Revenue and profit are not the priority. The priority are a happy team. So that's always at the forefront. When I ask everybody to complete their timesheets every Friday, it's only about data. It's about data that we can use to develop our fees for the next project. It's just information gathering. It's not about breathing down anyone's neck. It's not about every day looking at how this connects. Mm-hmm. It's that overarching bigger picture of why we do timesheets.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just about communication and being clear on why we're doing certain things.
Right.
And I also, the client is extremely important. So it's also what you need to do to make sure that client is feeling seen mm-hmm. and supported and inspired by what we do. And it's not about the exact amount of time that goes towards it. It's just, it's a good element as far as data, but not how we change our behavior.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I always say to those that don't quite understand the process of getting a client, but when you do actually bring in the work and you cultivate a client and that client becomes your client, it is truly a miracle, right? That you've gotten this job, that they're entrusting you, and then all of a sudden you feel a tremendous amount of responsibility to serve that client, not only for your own firm, but also for them. Like mm-hmm. they're spending a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And there's entire businesses and beyond that are associated with what you're designing. So mm-hmm. you've got to really truly care. And I think that's what's cool about our business is you do ultimately care what you're designing.
Yes. And they put their trust in us.
Totally.
And it's extremely important that we deliver, and then we create that connection with the client, and that it really does feel like a partnership.
So you went to the Harvard Executive Leadership Program. Mm-hmm. Or programs. So tell us a little bit about that, because you're very different in the way that you're approaching your company, and clearly that program had something to do with it. So tell us a little bit about the program and sort of, how did it shape you to run the firm?
Sure. So I'm a YPO spouse partner, so that's why I attended these. These were through the YPO program.
Ah, okay.
So I've done it this twice, and you spend a whole week up at Harvard, and the professors are all incredible. You read a case study before you go. It's the case study method at HBS. And then during the course of the actual session with the professor, that's when he determines the outcome of the case, and he teaches you why that leader approached the problem the way they did and how it was resolved. And so with each case, you learn something new, and it's all extraordinary. I learned so much more about myself. I also did this other program called IMD, which is in Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
So I did that last summer in June. And that was a case study on myself and how I can grow as a leader. A big part of that is also how grief affects you as a leader, and making sure that you're moving through all the proper stages of grief so that you can be the best version of yourself. In that course specifically, I just really honed in on the power of gratitude. And that is something now I do practice every day within my team and with other mentors that I have in my life, just always expressing gratitude.
Wow. Interesting that You've taken a lot of advantage of YPO, which is amazing, more so than me. I got to get out there and do these programs.
Now the community is incredible.
It is, yeah. And I've done a lot with the Construction Industry Network, which has been great. We've done some really forward-thinking kind of workshops and stuff like that. A lot of that is shaped kind of where, this room that you're sitting in here, right, this technology lab. It's hard to find time to do all these things, too, because there's so much out there. Mm-hmm.
But I also feel it's important that we as leaders are taking time for ourselves to be able to grow so we can lead better.
Oh,
it's all
1,000%.
part of the investment.
Yep. So my favorite of all of these things are culture, because I totally agree. I have built, myself, not just me, it's our whole team here and partners. We have really, our success at this firm beyond just design is the culture. And I love when I, see things on our social media or when I hear people talking about the firm, and the number one thing, the thing they always say first is, the culture, which is great. And for me personally, we've grown tremendously, right? We've grown from, I think when I started, we were like 35 people. Now we're 145 people. Mm. And so maintaining that culture, and especially across other offices, is really sort of my next challenge. And I'm struggling with that. I'm trying to get there. But it's extremely important. So we will succeed at it. And I think we're doing pretty good. It's just a matter of trying to figure all of that out. So maybe I should look into some YPO stuff. But you've put culture at the center of your practice. What are some of the other cultural things that you do to build the culture?
Sure. So everyone's very clear on what our values are, and we use our values also as part of our performance reviews, feedback discussions, one-on-one, biweekly meetings that we have between managers and staff, to making sure that everybody is clear on our values and living by our values. And then we do activities that are based around those as well. So we do a retreat every June. So we've taken the team to Paris, Milan, Madrid. Everybody.
Wow.
And most recently to a wellness retreat in Arizona.
Oh, cool.
And this time together is about connection and about learning together and being inspired. And those all, again, connect back to our values. And we want everybody to also feel empowered. So this is that entrepreneurial spirit where they are empowered to make those decisions and to lead a project and to have tough discussions with clients, with some guidance, but they're empowered to do that. And also we make decisions as far as maybe this client is not the right fit for us, and to be able, and if there's not a personality fit, we make those hard decisions together. So they're empowered. And then belonging is a strong value of ours. We want the whole team to feel like this is a home for them.
Sure.
And that, again, ties back to my experience at TSC and creating that family aspect. And excellence is also a strong value of ours. And that's with every touch point of how we work and what we deliver.
So a lot of companies and people talk about work-life balance, right? And I struggle with this for sure. I've actually convinced myself that, obsessed people don't actually have a work-life balance. It's all sort of intertwined together. And that works for me and my family. Like, they know that I'm always working, but I'm always present, yet I'm always working. There's that kind of thing. And maybe I'm just making excuses for myself. But especially as a business owner, there is really no line between work and life and all of that stuff, right? How do you deal with that? How do you balance that? And then how do you kind of translate that to the others in your company?
Mm-hmm. So I like to say work-life harmony instead of balance. So these have to be harmonious with one another. As a team, we developed boundaries. So we've discussed how we want to communicate with one another and boundaries around that. So we use Microsoft Teams. There's no Teams messages allowed after 6:30 p.m.
Wow.
If you are still working, then you could send an email, but no one's going to check their email at night. So the idea, like the Teams, pops up on your phone.
Right.
So we don't do that anymore.
Okay.
As far as the team, we've decided that we all want to be present from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., meaning being available for internal calls, client calls, those type of meetings. But then you're flexible the rest of your day. If you want to do a yoga class at 9 a.m., if you need to drop off your child at school at 9, you don't need to sign in until 10. So it's about flexibility.
Okay.
And knowing that the priority is always going to be family and friends, and work comes after that.
Wow.
People with health issues, family issues, those all take priority.
Yeah.
And the team is so supportive of one another. So if one person is having difficulties with something, another person will step in and assist.
Right.
No one ever works alone. So we're always set up at least in pairs. So there's if somebody goes on vacation, it's covered. Everything is covered.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is amazing. You should be pretty proud of that.
I am. I am. I think it is great.
Because we here definitely don't. We do a lot after 6:30. I feel like that's the time we actually. I can actually sit down and accomplish something.
Oh well, me is different. Sorry.
Well, no, but then that
For
translates to everybody
team,
here. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. And of course, I like to catch up sometimes on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But I also I'm really enjoying myself.
Right.
I love this. I find this so rewarding. I've never worked so hard in my life, but I've gotten so much more out of it.
Yeah, me too. I totally agree. That's what I'm saying. It's that for me, it's not a work or a life thing that are separated. It's all intertwined, right? Mm-hmm. I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't mind working or sending emails or researching something or sitting down to look at a design of something at any time of the day or night. It doesn't really matter to me because I like doing it.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. And I still take time to exercise and to travel.
Yeah.
So I feel that I'm being able to do it all.
Yeah, you just intertwine it all.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. So if you had to pick one thing, what annoys you most about your fellow architects or designers?
Well, we touched on the employee experience, so that's something I was going to speak about, was the fact that we're so focused on the client experience that we sometimes forget about the employee experience. So I would say that's number one. But other things are the normalization of giving away free work. Mm. So free concept design and test fits and look and feel at the beginning of a project, and to be awarded a project. And I just feel that really devalues our expertise. And I do feel there is a specific process and strategy of how you get to a successful design. So I had a current client who had engaged first with 2 reputable firms to provide initial look and feel and test fits for a workplace project. And they were extremely unhappy with what was delivered. And so they asked then for me also to do the same. And I respectfully said no, because I said there is a process to this. Mm-hmm. The reasons they were not successful is because they didn't get to know you. They didn't walk the space with you. They didn't ask you the right questions.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, we'll engage with you. Let's go ahead and do the first phase. And we nailed it. We absolutely nailed it. And it is a process. You have to take the time for that discovery phase and meet the stakeholders, understand what's important to them. So that to me that's how you make a successful project, and we shouldn't be normalizing the free work.
Yeah, we struggle with that. I'm totally honest. I think of 2 examples as you're saying that, the very, very recent examples, like within the past couple of weeks. One was a workplace project that we were asked to do a program and a test fit, and we did it. And at the end of the day, they decided to go with another firm because they said that our program and test fit didn't, fit what they were looking for. And it was kind of like, no shit, right? Like, you didn't give us any information, so it was a total shot in the dark. And then we had a restaurant client actually ask us for sort of an initial concept design, and we said no. We can't do that for a restaurant. We know we need to understand what it is that you want to do. I mean, we need to talk to you and talk through it. And they kind of hemmed and hawed, and then a few weeks went by, and then they called us back, and now we're starting to do the process again. So it's such a tough balancing act with that stuff. I agree. I hate it. I hate the assumption that you can. It's not even the part that it's free. Fine, it's free. It's the fact that then you're judged on, but you didn't spend any time with these people, and how are you supposed to know what's in their head? Mm-hmm. It's I totally agree. You have a list. If you have other things that I know you about architects, please tell me. So, as someone who is doing or has completed the program at Harvard, the executive leadership programs, do you think that there should be more business-oriented education in the world of an architect?
Yes, and that was my other my other point as far as what annoys me about architects is something that we can all be doing better is teaching the business of architecture.
Yeah.
It's not just art. Architecture is not just art. It's a business, and it can't just stem from the business owner. Everybody is part of this. So why are we not teaching this early on?
Yeah, you do teach, or they do have a professional practice, right? And I remember that class kind of being a joke. Right, nobody paid attention. It was easy. Someone, you took a test at the end and you kind of called it a day. I always say I would love to teach professional practice at this stage of my career because we could really talk about things exactly like what we're talking about, culture, right? That's part of a business, right?
But I had never seen a P&L or a balance sheet until I started this company.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
Scary, I should have learned that earlier on. I have such gratitude towards the support that I had to teach me all of those elements, and now I get it all. But I was never taught that at a level, education level. Yeah,
I was lucky there. A firm that I worked at called HLW International, there was the CFO there, this guy, Pat Kinsler. I assume he's still there. He actually would hold sort of for new principals, right? I was promoted to principal at some point, and for new principals, he held like a little informational session, like on a weekly basis, and we went through a P&L. But I agree, before that I had never seen a P&L. I had no idea what that was. I could care less about profit, right? Back in the day. Like, you just gave me a project, I designed it, I didn't care. I spent as much time on it as you wanted. If you didn't like the hours I put on my timesheet, I don't know, don't show the client. But this is what it took. So, yeah, that's another huge issue in our profession.
Yes.
I totally agree. What advice do you have for young emerging architects just starting out?
Build relationships.
Right.
That is what our industry is all about. I don't think it's just our industry, but it is such a huge element. Don't ever burn a bridge. Always be kind, be caring, show up with energy, and be a sponge. Just learn from everybody around you because everybody has something to teach you. Could be good or bad. Could be how you don't want to act, how you don't want to treat somebody, but you still learn from that person. So just be super engaged, observe and stay curious.
Yeah, I like that. And I like don't burn a bridge. It's smart because this whole industry, everybody kind of circles around one another a lot. So let's talk a little bit about your company, Studio Lourdes. Tell us a little bit about the name, where that comes from, the history of that. And then I'd love to we have some images of your work, and I'd love to have you kind of talk through some of them.
Sure. So again, stemming back to wanting to create a environment for the team that everybody could be, feeling empowered and nurtured. I was inspired by Lourdes of France, the city in France, and this idea of a very inspirational, transformational place. And I just really connected with the place and what it means. And then also it's my grandmother's name, who's a Cuban immigrant, came over during the revolution. And for me, she symbolizes, resilience and just an amazing, empowered, woman.
Wow.
My expertise has always been retail, 20 years within the retail industry. So that is where we started. And my first client was Chanel for their fragrance and beauty boutiques, and was able to those relationships that I had established at the previous companies, they were very supportive of me being out on my own. And I've created a name for myself in the retail industry, so
nice.
that's how we have grown the firm.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to pull these up. So let's, any particular order, does it matter?
No. So, we...
And just describe a little bit about what we're looking at. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So we do projects for retailers that are everything from a shop-in-shop or pop-up experience to a full-size flagship.
Okay.
In some cases, we are doing the original design concept for them. In other cases, we're working with a outside designer or an in-house designer for the brand. So for Bathing Ape, this client we've had for the past 2 years, this is a pop-up in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So knowing that the client wanted to be open extremely quickly, didn't want to have to go through the rigorous permitting process in Las Vegas. It's how do we take their design and make it work so that we can be open very quickly.
Okay.
So they provided us a concept for this, but making sure that we're doing very limited electrical work and limited construction so that we can avoid the permit and get this open very fast.
Okay.
So I see us as a consultancy. We're not just told what to do as far as being a firm. We're part of the thought process of how to achieve the client's goals.
Right, and the strategy of how to actually make
Correct.
it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know I happen to know that I have 2 daughters, so I know kind of all of your brands. I know all of them. Very cool.
Yes, and then again, I never want to do one project, for a client. That's also the beauty of retail and the business around retail is that you get to know the client and you create that partnership, and then you're doing multiple locations with them. So for a Bathing Ape, we've done this one. We've done American Dream Mall, which was a much larger permanent location, and we have one in Vancouver, and we are doing in Desert Hills in California now as well. This is Marc Jacobs. So Marc Jacobs, last year we did 12 locations with them. And we would first go and do the site survey, due diligence of the space, create the CAD, file the backgrounds, and send it to a team in Italy to do the concept design.
Okay.
And then we worked as partners. The design would come to us. We would still have to review it for code compliance, ADA, make those adjustments, slight adjustments to door clearances, the ADA fitting room.
Sure.
And then we would move into, design development, construction documentation.
Okay.
And then be there, during construction. We visit about 4 times.
How do you handle all of these locations out of sort of the Northeast, which is where you're based?
So I do have 2 team members located in Miami.
Okay.
I have 2 located in Toronto.
Okay.
I have the rest of the team is New York. We also I have some freelancers that are based in Paris.
Huh.
4 of them in Paris, and they're helping in our Europe type of projects, also London as well. And then I also have utilized some freelancers as well. So for California projects, if I need somebody to go run and see the site or there's a problem, they can. And these are relationships that I've also had for many, many years. So there's also that trust that's already been built. I've worked with them in the past, and they can go over and see the site if needed. But for the most part, we do the travel.
Yeah, you just go.
We just do it from New York. Whoever the project manager is, they just travel to the site.
Yeah, we used to. When we first started doing projects outside of the New York, New Jersey area, we would go and find a partner firm and then hire them for CA and the whole thing. And then eventually we realized, you know what, we'll just go there. It's a lot easier. And it's now consistent with our own design and our own process. Not that there was anything wrong with these other firms, but it just made more sense to it's really not that big a deal.
Right.
To travel.
And some are more difficult. We have a project in Aspen, and my project manager got stuck there. The flight got canceled, and then she had to reroute to Denver and then get another. These things happen.
Yeah.
And
totally.
At least these days you could work on the plane, and you can work in the at the lounge at the airport.
Absolutely.
So Longchamp, longstanding client. I had them at my previous company as well. And this is a flagship in Soho that was a 3-level renovation. The complexity here is there was the internal design team in Paris, who is responsible for the third floor. And then they hired Thomas Heatherwick Studios out of London to design the ground level and the second floor.
Okay.
So there were a lot of opinions and discussions around how to bring this all together. And then, we were the architect for the full
Pull it
scope.
Together. Nice.
And the owner also, his office is right around the corner, so he was there every day to check in on things.
The owner of Longchamp?
Of Longchamp, yes.
Oh, really?
And so, but we're part of the team. We're a real extension to the Longchamp team. So,
right.
They don't have a project manager or a store planning team that's here in the U.S.
Okay.
So we play many parts for them.
Do you ever do any procurement for any of these projects?
We don't. We've been discussing that, though.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to do. This is a cool store.
Yes, it came out beautiful.
Yeah.
And then to be invited to the grand opening party, it's really fun to be really part of the entire process and get to celebrate with our clients together.
Yeah. Well, and so we're looking at the stair kind of undulating and then going up.
Yeah, so this is Thomas Heatherwick designed this. And it originally, this was done 10 years ago, this staircase.
It's wild. And
originally it was more of a brown leather. And so we reclad it in this green for their new brand look and feel.
Wow.
And Aesop, so this specifically is a store on Gansevoort in the meatpacking area. So we do a lot of beauty brands.
Okay.
And really understanding what goes into these stores as far as the display, the lighting, extremely important. Also the backstock, different temperatures that need to be for the stock areas.
Okay.
And lots of plumbing elements. It's what that entire experience of when you walk into a beauty boutique.
Right. This is also absolutely beautiful.
And then NYX, these are more of an example of working with a brand as far as doing the design concept.
Okay. And
then really quick build outs for these.
Okay.
So these are throughout Canada.
Wow.
Peserico is an Italian brand. We worked with their in-house design team to design this store on Madison Avenue. So understanding, of course, how to navigate landmarks and long permitting times, sometimes the review boards, and the changes that we wanted to make to the facade. And so 2-level, interior space.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the Marc Jacobs again. And then this is Dries Van Noten, working with their team in Paris to do Dries's very first store in New York. So this is down on Mercer Street, also navigating landmark. And we did this mainly as design build.
Okay.
The client had a lot of design changes along the way.
Right.
So my project manager on this. She was there very often and doing sketches. It was very interactive, but also very enjoyable just to see it really come to life in front of us. And the concept is more of an art gallery.
Yep.
And so another reason to come into the store. So this is a more recent trend that we're seeing. The collection is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working with Restoration Hardware, and with the exception of the restaurants that are in the Restoration Hardwares and some of what they call their galleries, there's really no one walks out with merchandise. You're really just looking at it, right? And then that transaction happens, either afterward or online or whatever. It is just a showroom in a sense.
Yes.
And I can see that more and more these days.
Mm-hmm. These are all Dries. Getting that's a marble coffee table that we had to bring down to
to describe it looks like a pillow.
Yes. And then to bring it down into the lower level of the space had its own challenges, of course, and bringing in a crane.
That's awesome. So how many people are work with you now on your...
So I have 12 full-time.
Okay.
And then I have a group of freelancers that I bring in as needed for different specialties. They each have their own, with their expertise of what they're good at, and bring them in as needed on a project basis. If it's 3D renderings, if it's test fits for workplace interiors, I have, and this is what COVID has allowed. It's opened up borders.
Yeah, absolutely.
The team does not have to be sitting in a space in New York anymore. Yep. It's about finding the best of the team wherever they're located in the world.
Yep.
And that also allows, if somebody wants to go and work for a month in a different country, or spend time with their family wherever they live, like, that's fine. It's about getting the work done.
Yep.
So that's one of the benefits of COVID. And then my whole apparatus, I have a fractional CFO, which, again, being allowed to have that instead of having to hire a full-time CFO and HR manager and business development director. The whole apparatus with everybody is 30 people.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
you.
Where
are you from originally?
I grew up in New Jersey.
Okay.
I'm a daughter of a Cuban immigrant.
Right.
And an Italian mother from Brooklyn.
Okay.
And I did a study abroad program in Florence, which really is, transformed me and has also created the love as far as art and architecture and that connection of fashion.
And what chapter is your husband in YPO?
He's in Metro Gold,
okay.
Liberty.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, the Metro chapter is an interesting chapter. So it's very difficult to get into these days. Yeah. So congratulations to him. And then I just want to talk a little bit in our kind of, as we wrap up, where do you see Studio Lourdes in the next 5 years, in the next 20 years? Like what's your plan for kind of seeing this through?
Yeah. So I had outlined a perfect plan, right, as far as revenue growth and scale and what that looks like, and how many employees to meet those goals, and a whole strategy. And this year has been more difficult.
Okay.
And now I'm relooking at it.
Okay.
As far as what creates happiness in all of this, and is it getting to this level? Like, why? Why would that be? Why? And I just realized that I'm in full control of what we decide to do or how large I want to be. And I find that I'm happiest with my current team and the way that we connect. And so I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I feel like I need to be flexible and adaptable to what changes are out there and what doors open for me as well, and have to weigh the pluses and minuses to each of those.
Yeah. I
feel I'm very intuitive, and I like to just trust my gut on things as well. So we'll see.
Okay. I love it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, COVID threw us totally threw a wrench in our plans, right? And then we had to completely regroup. And then from there, we changed a lot of directions, right? And ultimately are better off for it, but at the time you could have told me, and I was like, no, it's over. We're done. So you never know. You have to just stay positive and keep moving forward, in whatever path.
And if you have some sort of set goal, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah, it's got to be flexible.
Right. It has
Absolutely.
to be flexible. And the main thing is I want to work with good people and have fun doing it.
Yeah. So do you, a lot of talk about AI. I'm trying to ask more and more guests, especially on the design side. Are you using AI at all in anything? And if so, how?
Sure. Well, as far as renderings, I have this one amazing guy who does these AI renderings.
Yeah.
And he spits them out in like 24 hours.
Yeah.
And they're great just to give a client an initial idea of what is possible. So that's a fun, I just enjoy seeing them.
Yeah.
The others are, we did our strategy session last October, and I was able to turn it into a podcast.
Oh, cool.
Using I think it's called Notebook AI.
Notebook AI. It's the Google product.
Yeah, and so created a podcast out of it.
It's crazy.
And it was so fun for the team. And to have somebody else, these AI people, talking about our company and our vision, it was energizing to hear that. And then how else do we use it? We use it, to the typical ones where they're taking meeting notes on our Zoom calls,
right.
So those are the easy ones.
That Notebook AI is very powerful. Like for me, someone who struggled with learning from books growing up, if I had that in like, middle school and high school where I could create a conversation and just listen to it, man, I would be, I don't know, I might be a doctor or something like that. Who knows?
Exactly. And even just, Copilot, to be able to generate a schedule is so much faster now. We used to sit with the little turntable, right, and count the weeks. Mm-hmm. Now you just put in there what the turnover date, how many weeks you need for concept. You put the information in, and it spells out a full schedule for you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I feel like the pace, everything, I'm so much quicker. I could get a lot more done now.
So as we wrap up, is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to tell the listeners? We covered a lot.
No, I think we're good.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Christina, thank you so much for being my guest here on the Anti-Architect podcast and for sharing your story, your values, your projects. Very inspirational. And I think that I want others to really listen to this, especially around the culture and how you've steered your company. It's pretty special and unique out there. I think more of us should follow along with what you do.
Thank you.
So to learn more about Christina and Studio Lourdes, you can visit their website, studiolourdes.com, and then also check her out on LinkedIn. Awesome.
Great.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.